If you're a true Liverpool fan, subscribe to Anfield Signal. The perfect player is coming back to save Arne Slot. The perfect player is now coming back to save Arne Slot's season at Liverpool. It's been a difficult season for the Dutchman. All the euphoria of an electric Premier League triumph have been abated by extremely tough periods on and off the pitch. Slot deserves some sympathy for how things have transpired. His tactics are questionable, but ultimately he has a very limited pool of players to choose from. Injuries have blighted Liverpool's campaign, and on top of that, the Reds are trying to transition into a style of football that doesn't suit the current players Slot has at his disposal. But things are looking a little bit brighter on the horizon this week. There is one player who Slot will be excited to see return to the squad, and it's because he has what it takes to save the Reds' season. No, it's not Alexander Isak. He's still a while away from being able to play matches for Liverpool. But as per The Athletic, who reported last week that Jeremy Frimpong was expected to miss a week, the former Bayer Leverkusen's return could be just as impactful. If all is well, Frimpong is expected to start training with Liverpool this. Right now, Liverpool have no speed and no creativity coming from the flanks. Frimpong changes this. He is an incredibly fast player. He's also a facilitator. A lot of people made fun of Arne Slot's recent comments about Liverpool not having a winger with a similar profile to Jacob Murphy. But he was right. Liverpool do need facilitator wingers to provide for Isak and Hugo Ekitike. And the player who could become that is Frimpong. He averaged the 6th most crosses in Europe's top 5 leagues in the last calendar year, 541 per 90. Murphy averaged the 2nd most, 582 per 90. Prior to his injury, it was his cross that led to Ekitike's goal against Tottenham. Then Frimpong got an assist against Wolves, scored against Barnsley, and played a key role creating Cody Gakpo's goal against Fulham. That ability is going to give Liverpool a new lease of life in attack. It's exactly what's missing in the attack right now, and it's how Frimpong could save the Reds' season.
Liverpool see Carlos Baleba have £115 million transfer fee slashed with race leader named. Liverpool have been linked with a host of Premier League midfielders and have been given good news on one of them. Liverpool's midfield is, arguably, the strongest area of Arne Slot's squad. There is one glaring weakness though, and that is the absence of a natural number 6. This could be either a destroyer, a powerful defensive midfielder who will stop opposition attacks and protect the defense, or a deep-lying playmaker, someone who will dictate the tempo of a game and link the defense to the attack. Liverpool could land bargain Baleba deal. Several players have already been mentioned, with Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United and Chelsea all seemingly after the same players, most of whom currently play their football in the Premier League. After being close to leaving a couple of times already, one player who is certain to be on the move and who Richard Hughes is keeping tabs on is Carlos Baleba. Brighton's midfield powerhouse was originally being touted for a transfer with a fee similar to that of Moises Caicedo, which was around the £115 million mark. According to Team Talk, that figure is now as low as £70 million, a figure that will see interest and competition increase. Given his Premier League and international experience, this price seems more than fair for a player who is yet to peak. Who are the favourites to sign Baleba? One club has consistently been hot on the heels of Baleba, with United said to be leading the chase for his signature. The Team Talk report claims that sources indicate that United's persistence, combined with the player's profile and the realistic expectation of a reduced fee, leaves them in a strong position heading into the summer. United's motivation is greater than most, with Manuel Ugarte failing to make an impact and Casemiro leaving the Premier League in the summer, but Baleba's athleticism and ability on the ball could be just what Liverpool needs to free up the attacking talents of Dominic Szoboszlai and Ryan Gravenberch. Liverpool now ready with £50 million offer for 18-year-old Wonderkid. Liverpool are heading for another big attacking revamp, just 1 year on from a mammoth £450 million spending spree. Last summer Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak arrived on British record deals, with Hugo Ekitike also coming on board. But uncertainty over Mohamed Salah and Federico Chiesa, not to mention a lack of options on the left, could force Richard Hughes into taking transfer action. The Premier League champions have surrendered their title in meek fashion, and will be no doubt seeking to bounce back in 2026-27 with a new-look attack. Liverpool looking at Matheus Main. Several top stars, including Yen Diomande and Anthony Gordon, have been suggested as potential incomings. But one name right now is causing ripples of excitement: 18-year-old Wolves sensation Matheus Main. Although the Portugal-born youngster only made his first Premier League start of the season on December 27, he has quickly grown into a budding superstar. The teenager has scored 2 top-flight goals in a struggling Wolves side, and looks destined to depart once their drop to the Championship is confirmed. with his agents reportedly visiting the AXA training center of late Liverpool could find themselves in pole position for the winger, who can also play through the center of attack. Liverpool ready to pay £50 million for PSG target Main. A report in Fishages now claims that the Anfield side are ready to pay £50 million for Main, who is under contract at Molineux until 2029. But Richard Hughes will have to pay attention to interest from Paris Saint-Germain, with Luis Enrique's side described as frontrunners for the former Rochdale youth. There are several Portuguese players in the ranks of PSG, not to mention sporting director Luis Campos, and Main could feel right at home in that setting. Liverpool have a big job on their hands to convince Main to take his next steps on Merseyside, but having recently won the race for Wirtz, Isak and others, they can be confident of landing one of the game's brightest emerging stars. Liverpool could face nightmare Champions League scenario with path to final. Liverpool will find out its last 16 opponents and its path to the Champions League final later this week, with the Reds' dream and nightmare scenarios already clear. Liverpool will discover its path to the Champions League final on Friday, with Europe's premier competition now ready to enter the last 16 phase. The Reds know they will face one of Atletico Madrid or Galatasaray next month, with the former having secured its safe passage by beating Club Brugge on Tuesday, while the latter needed extra time to see off Juventus in Turin on Wednesday. It's not just the last 16 ties that will be decided on Friday though. The modern format of the Champions League, which was first brought in last season, means Arne Slot and his side will also have their potential path to the final in May mapped out. Now that we know the final 16 teams left in the competition, we can see what that could end up looking like, and there is the prospect of a dream or nightmare scenario for the Reds. Dream scenario. There are of course only two options for the last 16 in Galatasaray or Atletico Madrid, and whichever side Liverpool gets will determine what half of the draw it's placed on. At the risk of this coming back to bite us, the side that Atletico sits in does have the potential to be the easier route, on paper at least. Should Liverpool come through another meeting with Diego Simeone's side, then a quarter-final clash with Newcastle looks to be the favourable option, if the Magpies can overcome one of Chelsea or Barcelona. Beat Eddie Howe's side, then Reds fans would certainly fancy a semi-final against the competition's surprise package Bodo/Glimt. Yes, that does seem very unlikely, but it is possible, and that would be the dream scenario to secure a place in the final. There is still a chance of getting something of a favourable path to Budapest on the other side of the draw. Beating Galatasaray could lead to a quarter-final against Chelsea, which is perhaps the favourable option compared to Paris Saint-Germain or Barcelona, while there is the potential for a semi-final meeting with Sporting CP nightmare scenario. Either side of the draw could present Liverpool with what would be a daunting prospect. What you consider to be the true nightmare scenario may well depend on which of Galatasaray or Atletico you view as the tougher test. Either of those last 16 ties could lead to the Reds facing Barcelona in the quarterfinals, followed by Arsenal in the semi-finals. At the same time, there's the potential for a replay of last season's meeting with PSG in the quarterfinals, while Bayern Munich or Manchester City in the semi-finals wouldn't exactly be a welcome encounter, especially having already lost twice to Pep Guardiola's side this season, and neither would be Real Madrid. In any case, Liverpool will be among the favourites to go all the way to the final, and should that happen, the Reds will be confident of